The best part of waking up, it's scream bloody God in your cup. And welcome back to Joe's Metal Mancave vlog. Today I'm going to show you every single t-shirt, sleeveless, long sleeve, and hoodie that I own that has heavy metal related stuff on it. But before we get into it, I should probably state that I've never really, collected t-shirts in a sense where like I've paid more than any normal price for them. No, any t-shirt that I have here in this little pile before me is just my normal wardrobe. I've never like put these off to the side or anything or valued more than others. But I think actually when I'm done with this video, I'm gonna probably retire some of these shirts just because they are over 20 years old and fuck it, I need more decorations for my Metal Mancave anyway, right? So I don't want this video to be like 2 hours long, so I'm gonna probably edit this down pretty heavily, but I'm gonna show you each shirt and kind of talk about it a little bit and then move on to the next one pretty quickly. Alright then, up first is Falkenbach, and I bought this t-shirt back at the, I believe, 2001 Milwaukee Metal Fest, and kind of a funny story to tell about this one right from the get-go is that, I think it was the following year, this guy came up to me, because I was wearing it the following year, and he was like, man, I really want that t-shirt, like, where did you get it? And I told him, you know, I got it at the fest the previous year, and he literally, like, grabbed my hand and put a $100 bill in my hand and said, I will give you $100 if you take that shirt off your back and give it to me. And I didn't do it because, I mean, it's a fucking cool shirt and Falkenbach rules. I mean, this gold print on here, how cool is that, man? So yeah, and then he continued to kind of follow me around the fest for a period of time. Then later on in the day, he actually saw me in the mosh pit or something. He's like, I'm gonna get that t-shirt from you. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna get it from you. Well, fuck you. You never got my Falkenbach t-shirt. I still have it. And my God, this shirt rolls one of my absolute favorites. So yeah, Falkenbach. A Bigor hoodie. I bought this one, oh man, probably at least 22 years ago. It has stood the test of time. It's got some print on the sleeve here. We draw the essence of Mortal Weakness and of course the Supreme Immortal Art album cover on the back. So I believe that this sweater or hoodie is probably from like 97, 98 when that album was released. And yeah, one of my favorites, again, has stood the test of time. It's just very cool, and obviously, if you have good taste in black metal, you know that Abigor had some of the best black metal albums in the 90s. A Moonspell hoodie, which, curiously, just has the Moonspell logo, and at some point in time I put a Amorphous patch on there, and somewhere else I have a Catatonia patch and a, very curiously, Carpathian Forest patch, which is weird because I'm not really a fan of them at all, but I guess somehow that patch landed up on there at some point. I bought this when I saw Moonspell probably back in like 2008 or 2009, and I remember it was down in Chicago at what I perceived to be like a billiards hall or something like that, because there was a bunch of, you know, pool tables in the background and stuff like that, and I just remember when the band started playing, the owners seemed like they were getting really agitated, like, whoa, what are we gonna do? Because things are getting a little crazy in Mosh, and I don't think they were ready for what they had booked, but it was a cool show, and that was the last time I saw Moonspell, but goddamn, it was a good show. Tristania, Beyond the Veil, one of my, I don't know if guilty pleasures is the word to use, but I absolutely love the first two Tristania albums, Widow's Weeds and Beyond the Veil, two just great gothic doom metal records from the late 90s from Norway. Fantastic band, awesome long sleeve here that I bought again, gosh, well over 20 years ago, and it's, you know, thankfully no rips or anything, it's still holding up pretty well, and hell yeah, man, Tristania. Yeah, continuing on, a Marduk hoodie, yeah. I bought this one around the era of the World Funeral album, so if I remember correctly, that would have been like 2003. I seem to recall ordering this directly from Marduk's website back then. I was a huge Marduk fan in those earlier years of my black metal listening. Unfortunately, they didn't really stand the test of time with me. I mean, I still love the stuff from the 90s, but regrettably, I actually sold a lot of it, but there was a time when I had absolutely everything that Marduk released in the 90s, and goddamn, man, I mean, I really regret selling this stuff, but, you know, your tastes change, and yeah, it is what it is. At the Gates, Slaughter of the Soul. Another one that, oh man, I must have bought this at least, 21, 22 years ago. Getting into melodic death metal was, a big catalyst for me. Just, getting into other underground music, of course, as I'm sure it would be for a lot of people. And At the Gates hasn't necessarily stood the test of time with me. I don't like any of the newer albums, and I think it's kind of silly that they made a comeback, if I must be honest with you. But Slaughter of the Soul is a decent album, but as far as like 90s melodic death metal is concerned, I will always turn to In Flames or stuff like that, or even Dark Tranquility more so than At the Gates. But still, I mean, they obviously had some classic albums and were really influential. So yeah, The Covenant, Animatronic. Oh boy, it's that band with the special K, and my goodness. Well, obviously, if you know the first two Covenant albums, In Times Before the Light or Nexus Polaris, they're total masterpieces of symphonic and melodic black metal, and they were two albums that were key in me getting into black metal. But obviously, by the time they returned to The Covenant due to a lawsuit, they switched gears and went in more of that electronic industrial metal. And although I did like it at one time, and although I did see them live back then, it did not hold the test of time at all. It is just awful, but nevertheless, I have the shirt, and it's a relic from my past, and what the hell, right? Mayhem, De Mysterious Dom Satanas. Another oldie for my collection that, man, I've had this one, I guess pretty much forever. Yeah, you've probably seen me wear this in some of my other videos, but man, I love this shirt. The side print here is all faded out, but that just kind of goes to show how many times I've worn it. There's basically nothing there. Oops. There's basically nothing there on the sleeve, and now the armpit's starting to fall apart too. So this one's definitely been through the ringer a few times, and but again, it stood the test of time, and just, man, I mean, one of the best black metal albums ever, and certainly one of my favorite t-shirts too. Moon Sorrow, Verisakit. Yeah, so this I bought back when Verisakit came out, which I want to say was like 2007, 2008. Again, I remember I bought it straight from the band's website, and the drummer sent it to me. I love Moon Sorrow. They are just a fantastic band. Absolutely one of the best, I guess, folk metal, but, more, the stuff in the past 2 decades has been more blackened Viking metal, I guess, or whatever. But yeah, man, great stuff. I've always loved them and have all their albums and just awesome stuff. Cannibal Corpse. Oh boy, this one goes back quite a ways. I bought this on the 2002 Worm Infested tour. Saw these guys alive numerous times over the years, and I gotta say Cannibal Corpse is one of those bands that has quite simply not stood the test of time for me. I own 0 albums from them, and I see literally no reason to ever buy any of their new albums or even any of the so-called classic albums. It's just in comparison to other, old school classic death metal bands, I think these guys are boring, but, I get their influence. They're one of the first really, heavily gore-themed death metal bands, and obviously a lot of controversy surrounding that, but, regardless of all that fact, this is actually a really comfy hoodie, and I do like tossing it on in the colder months of the year, so, yeah, Cannibal Corpse. Winterriket, yeah, the German dark ambient, dungeon synth, and black metal project of Christoph Ziegler. As far as memory serves me, it was back in like 2003 or 2004 I did an interview with Christoph, and he sent me this hoodie shortly thereafter, or maybe I bought it, I honestly can't recall, but yeah, kind of plain considering it just has the little logo on the front there of the tree and then the logo on the back. I think there definitely could have been room for a little bit more as far as back print is concerned, or even some in the sleeves, but nevertheless, again, a comfortable hoodie and one I often wear in the winter. Egelok. Yeah, I, at one point in time, actually had 4 Egelok t-shirts, but now I only have 2, and I actually meant to show these in my recent Egelok video, but this has lyrics from the Pale Folklore album on the back, and it's a pretty minimal design with just the gold logo and, the lyrics in the back, but still, pretty cool and pretty effective, and obviously very cool, because Egelok's old stuff, and Some of the newer stuff to a lesser extent is very cool too, so yeah, hell yeah. Oh, another Eggalot t-shirt. This one has fucking Bigfoot or something on it, I don't know. But I know I bought this when I saw them live back in, I want to say it was like 2009 or 2008. Nothing in the back print here, but I also used to have two other Eggalot ones. One which was sent to me in error. It was a size small, so I had absolutely no use for it, so I resold it on eBay. Then I used to have a long sleeve, which was from the Mantle era, but that too I ended up, it shrunk on me a little bit, and I sold it on eBay and actually got a pretty decent chunk, like $80 for the long sleeve, and it was a pretty minimal long sleeve. So pretty cool that people are willing to pay so much for Eggalot stuff, and I'm glad I have all these oldies, which are probably worth a lot of money now. Amorphous, Tales from the Thousand Lakes. Absolutely one of my all-time favorites, and I'm sure that's no secret because you've probably at some point noticed my Amorphous tattoo. This is a reprinting which I got back in 2011 when I went to Finland, and you know, it's great. I love the album, I love the band, most of their stuff, that is to say, and I've worn the shit out of the shirt since then, and you know, nothing but good memories of going to Finland and seeing them when I was in Finland, other great bands, and I remember just wandering into a random record store and they had this, and I was like, well, fucking A, I gotta have it. Amorphous. Reincarnation, yeah. Anyone remember Reincarnation? Well, I guess they're back together right now, but they were a progressive melodic metal band from Norway that featured amongst their ranks Chort, who had played bass on Emperor's In the Nightside Eclipse. I got this shirt back in 2005 or 2006 when they played my hometown, and after the show, after getting really drunk during the show, I went up to all the band members, asked them questions, and I tried to talk to Chort about In the Nightside Eclipse, but he absolutely refused and would have no part of it, and I don't know why. So obviously, he was not very keen on his black metal past with Emperor, Saturicon, and Carpathian Forest. But Reincarnation, pretty cool stuff if you're into progressive metal. One of my all-time favorite bands, Grotesque from Sweden, the early band for Thomas Lindberg, who later on, of course, went on to At the Gates and a few other bands. Awesome. I was so stoked. This is a reprinting here, which I got back in probably like 2011, but I absolutely love In the Embrace of Evil. Awesome blackened death metal with a little bit of a Bathory twist to it, or like an old Sodom twist to it. Absolutely some of my all-time favorite death metal right here. Fucking Grotesque. And oh, but wait, if you listen to Fools, the mob rules! Oh yeah! Fucking Black Sabbath here, man. Classic stuff. You know, again, this is a reprint here, which I got, oh man, I don't know how many years ago. Quite a bit, but man, I love this album. And I think like a lot of people, you know, I was sort of a late bloomer to the Ronnie James Dio era, not getting into it until like my early 20s, even though I'd already been listening to like Black Sabbath for like 10 or 11 years at that point. But goddamn, man, I love that stuff. Awesome. The mob rules. Another Bigor. This one I hacked the sleeves off for reasons I don't seem to recall, but I'm fairly certain this is a bootleg. As I seem to recall when I bought it, I saw several versions of it going on eBay. Nevertheless, it's from their Apocalypse era, which is by far the most raw and just bestial black metal album they ever released, or should I say EP, but goddamn awesome stuff. A Bigor. A Venom shirt that I've had since high school, which has literally been to hell and back. Faded to, well, a charcoal gray now, once a dark black, but obviously it's a Venom, welcome to hell. The logo used to be a crisp gold color, but obviously you can tell that I have worn the shit out of this. The sleeves have been hacked off, and still one of my favorites because, well, it's a great album, and of course it's Venom, so yeah. Pentagram, hell yeah, man. Oh, this was such a, well, I should say a great show, but I saw Pentagram for the first time back in 2007 or 2008, and this was back in the days when Bobby Liebling was still very much doing all the drugs underneath the sun, and when they played this show, they played for like 25-30 minutes, and then Bobby just kind of meandered off the stage and started taking photos and signing autographs and selling merch, but he was lit like a fucking high as a goddamn kite, and I have this really great picture of me to him together because I got drunk as shit for that show. I was so stoked to see him. Just awesome, man. It was a great show, even though it was, you know, only like 25 minutes, but it was a damn goddamn enjoyable 25 minutes of music, let me tell you. Pantera, still fucking hostile. I saw Pantera exactly 2 times before they broke up. First time I want to say was in 1999, and then again in 2000. On this particular tour, as far as memory serves me, it was Morbid Angel, Soulfly, and possibly one other band, and then Pantera headlining. Pantera has not by any means stood the test of time for me. I sold all of their albums, I think at least 8 years ago, because they just didn't do anything for me. And actually, when the reunion thing kind of started getting talking about a few months ago, I went and revisited them again on Spotify, and I was just like, nope, nope, can't do it. But nevertheless, Pantera was instrumental in getting me into like heavier music back in the early 90s when I was a kid, and to that I definitely owe them a great due. And you know, to those that go and see the band live on their little reunion or tribute band or whatever you want to call it, hey, have fun. But I saw Pantera in their glory days when they were the real Pantera. Ancient Rite, Dim Carcosa. Yeah, Ancient Rite, man, one of my real, just true favorites, man. I love these guys. Dim Carcosa, and basically everything they released in the 90s is very, very good. Sort of, well, in their early days they were black metal, then they kind of transitioned to more of a, I don't know, kind of epic, heavy metal, Viking folk metal, but oh man, I love this album. This is another one I bought well over 20 years ago, I guess back when Dim Carcosa came out, which if memory serves me was 2001, so hell yeah, Ancient Rite, Dim Carcosa. Who is Perkele, you ask? Well, it's not exactly a band. In fact, it's not a band at all. It's actually a pub and a venue in Helsinki, Finland, or at least it was back in 2011 when I got this t-shirt. But I remember I saw some cool bands at that particular concert. It was, Swallow the Sun, some other shit, but it was really good time there. It was sort of like the kind of after party for Tuska and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know why it says "Why So Serious" in the back, but I know that stems from that stupid fucking Batman movie, so, ugh. So usually whenever I wear this, I always make sure I have like a hoodie on or something like that, because I hate walking around with that quote on the back because people think I like Batman or something like that. But t-shirt itself is pretty fucking cool. I dig it a lot, so yeah. Enslaved 20th anniversary t-shirt. I saw these guys in Chicago for this 20th anniversary tour, and although I don't really recall them playing any special set or anything like that, they had these t-shirts for sale, and I figured I'd best pick one up as it would be kind of a unique souvenir, even though the shirt itself is honestly kind of ugly. And then it just has, you know, their demos and their live DVDs and whatnot and all that on the back. So it's not really that good of a shirt, but still obviously, you know, a relic of the past and their 20th anniversary. So it's kind of cool, and I love Enslaved, so what the hell, right? Another Pentagram t-shirt, and this one's from 2011. And I actually got to see Pentagram on my 30th birthday, so it was pretty special. And by this point in time, Bobby Liebland had kind of gotten his act cleaned up. He wasn't doing the drugs, so he wasn't like, you know, all like having a cocaine high and just bouncing all over the place on stage. In fact, before the concert even started, me and some friends, we were across the street. This is at Reggie's Rock Club, if you are in the Chicago area and you know it. We were just sitting in the car, drinking bourbon, getting completely shit-faced. And then my buddy Andy was like, holy shit, Bobby Liebland is eating dinner across the street. So just in a crazy, frantic, I don't know, fucking what, he just runs across the street, and I'm like, fuck it, here I come too. So we run across the street, and we're like, Bobby, take a picture with us. And he was just like, okay. And maybe the best part was the other guys in the band, they were still sitting down eating their meal. I remember the drummer, I don't know what to call his name, but he was like, you know, man, we're in the band too, you can take a picture with us. And I was like so drunk and belligerent, I was just like, yeah, you go sit down and you eat your hamburger, buddy. I'm a fucking asshole. But yeah, I saw Pentagram exactly twice. And another fun story that kind of stems from that show was during the show, someone yelled, "Hail Satan!" because, you know, there's been this misconception that Pentagram is, of course, a satanic band. And Bobby, just during the middle, or in between songs, was just like, fuck Satan! That motherfucker stole 40 years of my life! Fuck Satan! And then Victor Griffin's like, fuck you, man! It was fucking hilarious. And I gotta check my old YouTube channel. I'm pretty sure I have the video clip uploaded that. If so, I gotta find it and put it in this video, because it was fucking hilarious, man. Oh man. You getting sick of a Bigor yet? I should certainly hope not. Here's one of their newer ones, which has some drivel about Satan and whatnot on the back. Yeah, I've worn this one quite a bit. Love it. Pretty cool. I mean, I love a Bigor, and I've said that enough at this point, so yeah, a Bigor. Oh yeah, another old school one. Here we go with In Flames, Colony. Yeah, I know, I've heard some people say they really hate this album, and I know a lot of people just fucking hate In Flames, but oh man, this was my gateway into melodic death metal, and I absolutely, forever, as long as I live, will always love this album. So, yeah, man, In Flames, Colony, I mean, you know what it is, it's melodic death metal, that classic Swedish style. This was, as far as I'm concerned, the very last In Flames album worth listening to. They just started to go down that more, I don't know, just, the one they did after that, Clean Man, was just a little more generic sound, and they started adding electronics, and they're more catchy choruses, and cleanly sung vocals, and obviously, you know, there was even a point in their history where they had a music video where there was Hummers bouncing up and down, and I'm just like, wow, this is fucking gay. Anyway, In Flames was cool in the 90s, and Colony's a great album. Love it. This next one is probably the oldest shirt I own. In fact, I know that for a fact it is. It is Megadeth's Euthanasia, and I got this in a box set back in 1994 when Euthanasia came out, and it came with this t-shirt as well as a VHS tape, which was like basically some music videos and the making of Euthanasia, and then there was the Euthanasia CD itself, of course, which I already had, but I had to have the box set for the you know, t-shirt and the video. The box and the video I gave to my friend, like, oh man, probably 15 years ago or more. But, you know, Ryan, you should give it back to me. But, the back of this used to say, "Where the hell is Megadeth, Arizona?" And, I don't know, it just rubbed off. But it was, I just remember back in the day, people used to come up to me and say, "Why does it say, where the hell is Megadeth, Arizona on the back?" And like, I never knew what to say. All I knew is that I think Megadeth, Arizona was like the name of their studio or something they built back then, or I don't even know if Dave Mustaine even still lives there, but I just seem to recall them building a studio back then or something, and that's why it said, "Where the hell is Megadeth, Arizona?" Well, the next one is actually not a metal shirt, but it's close enough. It's an Ulver t-shirt from, well, honestly, I don't know which era of Ulver, but early 2000s anyway, and this one's kind of starting to fall apart on me. The sleeve's coming off, so this one's certainly destined to be a sleeveless shirt, but I really enjoy a lot of Ulver albums. Some of them are complete bullshit, and obviously the original trilogy of black metal and acoustic music is the best stuff they ever released, but a lot of their dark ambient, electronic, and just generally weird music they released over the years is very appealing to me and very interesting, but yeah, not metal at all here, but obviously they were a metal band, so that's why I wanted to include this one. Alright, another oldie, and this is Opeth's Blackwater Park Tour shirt. In case you never noticed, I have the Opeth O tattooed on me. I got that, oh gosh, 16, 17 years ago, basically just because of how much I adore the Blackwater Park album and basically everything they released throughout the 90s. Honestly, Blackwater Park was the last album I thoroughly enjoyed, and there's a few interesting moments after that point in time, but they went severely downhill, and I don't even want to talk about the newer stuff they've released in the past 10 years, which is just pure prog weirdness and generally awful. But I was fortunate enough, I got into Opeth right after Still Life came out, and then I saw them on this tour in a very small venue, and it was awesome, and goddamn good memories, man. Opeth. Alright, Rick, this is for you, buddy. My Dying Bride, The Dreadful Hours. Yeah, another, definitely an oldie for my collection. Again, this one I think comes from 2001. There was a point in time where I just absolutely adored My Dying Bride. I mean, I loved basically everything they released in the 90s. And The Dreadful Hours ended up being the last album from them that I just truly loved. I mean, going back to that time frame, I was seemingly perpetually depressed, and their music really, really resonated with me in a deep, special way, and I loved it. But one of the biggest disappointments of my life back then is I remember reading in the interview with Aaron, or maybe it was the guitarist Andrew, but he openly, like the guy in the interview asked him, like, "Are you guys really depressed, or is this just a gimmick?" And Andrew said, "No, we're all happy. We got wives and children. We like to party. It's just a thing we like to do." And I felt crushed. I felt like so betrayed. Like I thought these were just deep, dark, depressive, unique souls, and turns out they're just normal blokes. But god damn, man, what fucking great album either way, and great music. But yeah, the Dread Flowers, My Dying Bride. Mark Green. This is probably the most recent shirt I bought. I saw these guys back in March of this year in Chicago on their return tour, and this is a Tucson Arrogats, obviously a classic Swedish melodic black metal album, and one of my true favorites, which strangely enough, all these years later is only kind of getting attention now, which I don't understand because I think it's a total masterpiece. But yeah, a reprint here, of course, and when I bought this shirt, I bought it from the guitarist, and I chatted with him a little bit about the band's past, so that was really cool too. So yeah, Mark Green. This next one is another long sleeve, and it's a Opeth t-shirt, if the front image there isn't as obvious, I guess. But my wife gave this one to me about 7-8 years ago, either, I don't know, for Christmas or my birthday or something, I don't know. I was always really deeply disturbed by the fact that it said, "In the year of our Lord, 2004, like it makes it look like they're some sort of Christian band. So I basically really hate wearing this shirt unless I have, like, you know, a hoodie or, you know, flannel on, because I don't like walking around with that stupid quote in the back. But all I remember is she just said they had a sale on their website, and yeah, it's obviously a very bland and basic long sleeve, but hey, whatever. Watain! Yeah, man, lay down your soul for Watain. I absolutely love the first 4 Watain albums, but man, I'm telling you, those guys lost me after that. I've heard rumors that the new album is back to form, and, you know, I'm always skeptical because they've been just releasing these more, I don't know what you want to call them, more, commercially acceptable black metal albums these past several years, but his first 4 albums especially, Lawless Darkness and Cassius Luciferi, just fucking great albums, man. I absolutely love them. Watain. Morbus Crud, Creeping Crawling Graves, yeah. Morbus Crud. These guys were a short-lived Swedish death metal band. On their first album, they sounded like kind of like a mix between like Scream, Bloody Gore, Death, and like early Autopsy. Fucking love it, man. Total like tribute to that classic sound, but oh man, I love that first album. And then they went this more kind of progressive metal, death metal sound, and I just couldn't get into it, and they broke up shortly thereafter, and I don't know, maybe someday I'll return to that album and check it out, but I don't know, their first album was fucking great though. Another Amorphous t-shirt. This is the Karelian Isthmus. Obviously, Amorphous is one of those bands that was very diverse and changed very quickly throughout their career, but in these early days they played pure Scandinavian death metal and they did it pretty goddamn good. This is another reprint here, but great album. A lot of people, you know, if you talk about Amorphous, they're just like, I just like that first album and that's it. And that's understandable because they changed considerably by the time they got to Tales from the Thousand Lakes. But the Karelian Isthmus, great fucking album, man. Next we have this awkward gray one, which is the English post-metal, blackish metal band called Aina. Yeah, I guess the C is silent or something like that. So, my memories of this band was that they were probably one of the first black metal bands that had, I guess, like post-rock characteristics. And flashing back to the early 2000s, there was a hot minute where I was really into bullshit like Godspeed You Black Emperor, or Magua, or Explosions of the Sky, which I'm not in that style at all anymore, but when I heard that style being created in a black metal project, it seemed really interesting. So this was, as far as I can remember, just a one-man band, and yeah, they had a pretty interesting album on Godsmith Records back then, but I haven't listened to it in years, and I'm afraid to listen to it because I think I'm really gonna hate it, but if you like post-black metal, definitely look up Aina. Battle Daggerath, one of my absolute favorite American black metal bands. This is cold, epic black metal from California, which I know doesn't really make a lot of sense, but these guys are awesome. It's basically a solo project of Black Sorcerer Battle with Christoph Ziegler from Winterecke playing keyboards and a few others. here and there, but mostly it's a solo project and just awesome, cold black metal, very much in that sort of passage de hiver kind of atmospheric, discordant, long song kind of black metal. Very cool stuff. I love these guys. Dr. Shrinker, yeah, the doctor is in. So Dr. Shrinker is a legendary Milwaukee death metal band. It had some very, very cult demos in the late 80s and early 90s, but unfortunately the band never released a full album. That is until when they reformed in like 2015 and released an album that was a lot of re-recorded songs which just didn't have the magic of their youth and ultimately was not one I favored. But it was cool seeing them live, and they're all really nice guys. But if you have never heard Dr. Shrinker, I highly, highly recommend looking up their demos. A lot of it's been re-released in recent years, and they finally got the recognition they really deserve. But for a long time, they were just a totally cult band. Just awesome stuff, Dr. Shrinker. Entombed, Clandestine. Obviously, this is Entombed's second album, and one of only 2 good albums that Entombed actually released as far as I'm concerned. We got a classic band photo back there, but no LG Petrov, because as some people know, he was temporarily kicked out of the band because him and Nick Anderson had a fight over a girl or something, and then Nick did the vocals, and it just wasn't the album it could have been if LG had just done the vocals on it. But obviously he came back for the Wolverine Blues album, but at that point in time they'd started to go in that death and roll sound, and it was a catastrophic downhill spiral from there, and they just continued to get worse over the years. But nevertheless, Entombed are legends, and they were certainly one of the leaders in the early Swedish death metal scene. Don't have it on! Yeah, fucking Fintroll, dude. I literally do not own a single album from this band, but I have seen them live in 2009, which is where the shirt came from. Then I saw them again in 2011 in Finland. And, you know, their records are pretty just, I don't know, it's too silly for me. I can't get into it. It's just not serious, I guess, or whatever. It's just comedy metal, but they are very entertaining live. And I remember when I saw them in Finland, there was people like doing like ballroom dancing during their set and just a lot of like Congo lines and shit like that. It was just silly, and I was drunk as shit, so I really got into it. But fun times, Fintroll. Oh yeah, here's another classic, Morgoth. Yeah, hell yeah, man. So yeah, this is obviously, if you know Morgoth, classic German death metal. Just great stuff, man. Morgoth. Fall of Rauros. I think I wore this in one of my recent videos, but I absolutely adore these guys' demos and their first 2 albums, but they really lost me after that, and I don't know, they kind of fall, again, it's that, you know, post-metal or post-black metal atmospheric range of things, but I don't know, they just, as time went by, they got more progressive, more posty, and the black metal characteristics were just minuscule. And yeah, but like the 3rd album, I was just like, I'm not really into these guys. And I know they just released a new album a few months ago, but I've really been hesitant to check it out because I just don't think I'm gonna like, and I don't want to spoil or whatever, hate the band more than I already do after that 2nd album. But yeah, their demos in their first 2 albums, great atmospheric post-black metal. Here we go, Atrum and Ritus. Yeah, these guys were, where the heck, from Minneapolis, Minnesota. These guys played really dark, evil, satanic black metal. I absolutely love these guys. They did 1 album and a demo and a split with Sacrificial Massacre. That is really, really good. This is just freaky, just really dark, evil, truly just satanic, devoted black metal. And kind of a funny story is that when I got this shirt, the singer of the band, or the singer and keyboardist of the band, is a female. And she was also married to the guitarist of the band. These guys are devoted Satanists. Like, this wasn't like some fake shit. They were really into it. And I went up to her and I said, oh, I absolutely loved it. Great fucking set. And she was like, oh, praise Azrael. Thank you so much. And it took every bit of my being not to just go, you actually believe this shit? But it came off, it's all very genuine. It comes off as just creepy, dark, evil shit, and that's what I love about it. But I always just think it's a gimmick, but some people really take their satanic shit really seriously, and Atrum and Ritus is one of those bands. Well, here's another one that is arguably not metal, but fuck it, here's Anathema. I'm a huge fan of their early stuff, and generally everything they released throughout the 90s, even though by the late 90s it's pretty hard to call them metal anymore. But I saw these guys, I think it was September of 2019, and I got this shirt, and this was from The Optimist album, which was a complete piece of shit album. And speaking of pieces of shit, this shirt is a fucking piece of shit. I have shirts, obviously, that I've shown you, they're over 25 years old, but look at this. I've barely worn this shirt, and there's multiple holes in this shirt. What the fuck kind of cheap quality shit was this made on? Fuck this shirt. Absu, fuck yeah, man. I've seen Absu 2, maybe 3 times, and every time it was stellar. Obviously, these guys broke up kind of recently because Proscriptor McGovern couldn't handle the fact that his guitarist was transgender, so he broke the whole band up, which is... I don't even understand why you would do that. Why would you break your whole band up just because of that fact? But he did, and now it's known as Proscriptor McGovern's Absu instead of Absu, but whatever. I don't know that kind of drama. Just silliness to me, but Absu, fuck yeah. The Cold Beyond. Yeah, Cold Beyond was a local black metal band around here. They've since relocated and will be releasing some new material in the very foreseeable future. But this shirt goes back to about 2011 when the band first reformed. An EP was released back then, but the band has a bit of a cult status going back to the late 90s when they had some demos that got some attention. They were pretty well known for some very furious live assaults back then, and one of the guys from this band is a good friend of mine, so I'm really looking forward to the new material. And another Cold Beyond t-shirt, oh boy. And then what the fuck is the album called? And then The Darkness Came, which is what is the forthcoming album is going to be titled. But this photograph I actually took years ago. I think that would have been 2012, and it ended up in a t-shirt. So really cool. Again, kind of the old stuff was very influenced by like Gorgoroth and Immortal, very Norwegian sounding. It was really good. There's a demo compilation out there which I highly recommend picking up. But the newer stuff is more kind of, has some, I don't know, some more maybe post-ish kind of characteristics to it, and some doomy characteristics. At least that's how the EP was. It came about 10 years ago. But yeah, the band's kind of existed in various forms over the years, but nowadays it's just Sithaketh Ravenlord, and he does everything, and he's going to have a new album coming out, I believe, next year, so definitely looking forward to that. Another Dr. Shrinker shirt. I saw them, when they reformed back in 2014, 2015, whatever it may have been, and I got this t-shirt, and not a whole lot to say, other than if you haven't checked out Dr. Shrinker, check out Dr. Shrinker. Alright, we're getting to the end, I promise. Well, Ascorian. Yeah, this was a black metal band, solo black metal band from California, which, again, kind of fell into the post-black metal, atmospheric black metal stuff. I don't know. I was into this band for a minute, but it really didn't stand the test of time. This guy, I think he did a second album, but I remember when around the time he was releasing his second album, he was releasing these promo photos where he was doing like that David Bowie pose, because David Bowie had just passed away, so he was like, and I was like, what the fuck does David Bowie gotta do with black metal? Like, even if it's an influence for you, why are you doing this, dude? Like, and then, I don't know, that dude just looked like a total hipster anyway, so I had to make sure I didn't follow this band any further. But this first album is okay as far as atmospheric post-black metal is concerned, but nothing mandatory here, obviously. Alright, another local band. This is Asada. Years ago, I did some promo photos for these guys. I wrote their bio. I filmed them live multiple times. I went to their rehearsals. We were friends, and they were a doom stoner metal band. Nothing really, out of the ordinary, but we were cool, especially the bass player. Me and him were really close and really good friends for a period of time. But yeah, the band went through a lot of different phases, and shortly after me and my wife started dating, she actually joined the band as a keyboardist and backing singer, but that inevitably went nowhere, and she just played live with them and did a little mini tour, and that was about it, and the band broke up maybe back in, I don't know, 2017 or something like that. But if you're into stoner doom, check out Asada. Another Falls of Rauros t-shirt. This is, I guess, was from a mini tour they did where they just played 3 cities, but I didn't actually catch them live on that particular tour. I just seem to recall that after the tour was over, they had some sort of notice on their Facebook or their website about having some extra stock on the Eddies on sale. So I picked it up because, I was still really into the band back then. This probably dates from maybe 2012, 2013 time frame. And yeah, again, if you're into post-black metal, atmospheric black metal, you'd probably like the Falls of Rauros. Alright, next one I'm 100% sure is a bootleg, but is a Catatonia t-shirt. I got this when I was in England back in 2010 and attending the Bloodstock music festival in England, which I think was near Birmingham, or I don't know, it was in the middle of fucking nowhere, but close to the city. I think it was Birmingham, but pretty sure it's a bootleg because generally speaking, I just don't really think Catatonia, at least considering this is from like the newer era of Catatonia, I don't think they'd ever put a skull in their t-shirt, so it looks like a bootleg, but it's a really comfy shirt and I really like it. And I really liked everything Catatonia released in the 90s up until like probably about 2010, 2000. That was kind of the cutoff, and I just kind of lost it after then, and I didn't really have interest in it after that. But hey, old stuff is great. And last but certainly not least, and I believe I've worn this shirt in one of my videos, but it is the Arcane Archivist t-shirt, which I bought kind of recently. Cool fucking design on this one. Obviously, it's influenced by those old obtained enslavement photos, and I love Arcane Archivist, and it's a great zine, and you probably know it. If you don't know it, definitely read it, because I love what they're doing with it. Well, that all about it. That is my entire metal wardrobe collection, and now that I've actually sat here and gone through all this, I realize there's some I must not have washed or something, or they've just disappeared, and I also realized that a lot of shirts I used to have just disappeared over the years. Like, I remember I used to have an Obituary t-shirt, I used to have a Carcass t-shirt when I was in high school, I had multiple Megadeth and Metallica shirts when I was in high school, which were must have been given to friends, or I traded or sold on eBay. Fuck if I know, but they're gone, and that kind of sucks, but it is what it is. So, anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this t-shirt collection video. Obviously, I like seeing this kind of stuff, so link me to your videos, or tell me about your collection, tell me what these shirts you liked, or what you thought were fucking stupid and awful, or whatever you want to do. Anyway, thank you for checking out Joe's Metal Mancave. I will see you next time.